There is a curious irony in the modern world. Though we possess more tools to ease our burdens, we often find ourselves more burdened than ever before. Women, in particular, carry an invisible weight, responsibilities that stretch across career, family, and self-expectation. The mind, unguarded, becomes a battlefield where thoughts rush like an unending storm. Amidst this storm, the practice of meditation is not a luxury but a necessity. Some may object at once, "I have no time for such indulgences." But consider this: do you truly have no time, or have you allowed lesser things to claim dominion over your days? A person may spend hours tending to fleeting distractions yet hesitate to devote 10 minutes to the care of the soul. Meditation is not the theft of time, it is its sanctification. It is not the abandonment of duty, nor an escape from reality. Rather, it is the sharpening of the inner life, a discipline that makes the heart steadier and the mind clearer. Just as a warrior does not neglect the honing of her sword, so too must we not neglect the refinement of our thoughts. The power of stillness is greatly underestimated. Many believe that strength is found only in action, speaking, doing, achieving. But true strength is often discovered in the quiet mastery of the self. To meditate is to exercise dominion over one's own mind, to refuse to be a slave to passing anxieties or fleeting doubts. It is a reordering of the heart, a setting of thoughts in their proper place. And what is gained by this practice? Clarity, resilience, and wisdom. The world may still rage, duties may still call, but the woman who has cultivated the art of meditation walks with a steadier step. She is less easily shaken, for she has trained her mind to abide in truth rather than be tossed by every passing wind. Let it not be said that meditation is impractical. On the contrary, it is the most practical thing of all. For how can a woman lead, love, and labor well if her own soul is in disarray? If she seeks wisdom, let her begin with silence. If she seeks strength, let her master stillness. And if she seeks direction, let her train her mind to dwell on that which is good, true, and eternal. The modern world is a relentless cascade of noise, a ceaseless stream of demands, expectations, and distractions that clamor for attention. The pace of life has accelerated beyond what past generations could have imagined, and yet, for all the advancements in convenience, the mind remains restless, the soul unsettled. The modern woman, caught in this whirlwind, is expected to balance multiple roles, each requiring a portion of her energy and attention. She must be the nurturer, the provider, the friend, the advisor, the dreamer, and the realist, all at once. In such a world, the concept of quietness is not only rare but, in some cases, feared. There was a time when silence was woven into the fabric of daily life. The pauses between activities were not seen as wasted moments but as spaces for thought and reflection. Walking alone was not considered loneliness but an opportunity for contemplation. The absence of constant stimulation was not seen as a void to be filled but as a necessary rhythm of existence. Today, however, silence has become an unfamiliar companion. Every empty moment is seized by something, a notification, a conversation, a task that seems urgent. The mind, never given the chance to rest, becomes accustomed to perpetual movement, mistaking activity for fulfillment. Many women feel the weight of this reality, though they may not name it. There is a growing exhaustion that cannot be remedied by sleep alone. It is not the body that is weary but the mind. The sheer volume of information, opinions, and responsibilities creates a mental environment that is constantly overstimulated. Anxiety thrives in such conditions, feeding on the inability to pause, to reflect, to find clarity in the midst of the noise. Without moments of stillness, thoughts become scattered, decisions become reactionary, and the ability to discern what truly matters begins to erode. Some may argue that the modern world offers no choice, that busyness is simply the price of survival, that to slow down is to fall behind. But this is a deception. The busiest people are not always the most effective, nor are the loudest minds the most insightful. There is a profound difference between motion and progress, between noise and wisdom. A woman who is constantly occupied but never still may accomplish much, but at what cost? If her mind is in turmoil, if she is perpetually distracted, if she is unable to sit in quiet without restlessness, then she has not truly mastered her own existence, she has merely been swept away by it. The solution is neither drastic nor impractical. It is not found in withdrawing from responsibility or renouncing the world. Rather, it is the simple but intentional practice of reclaiming moments of silence. These moments do not need to be lengthy to be effective. They do not require elaborate rituals or specific environments. They require only a willingness to pause, to create a space, however small, where the mind can breathe. In these moments, the noise of the world does not disappear, but its grip loosens. The mind, accustomed to running in many directions, begins to settle. Thoughts that once seemed overwhelming begin to arrange themselves with greater clarity. The urgency that once dictated every action starts to diminish, replaced by a deeper sense of awareness. It is in this quiet that one begins to see, not with the hurried eyes of the distracted, but with the steady vision of the deliberate. Many will resist this idea, believing that stillness is a luxury they cannot afford. But the truth is quite the opposite. Stillness is not a luxury, it is a necessity. It is not an escape from reality but a means of engaging with it more fully. A mind that never rests cannot think deeply. A woman who never pauses cannot act with true wisdom. The quiet, far from being a retreat, is a foundation upon which strength, clarity, and resilience are built. The modern woman does not need more time, she needs more awareness of how she uses the time she has. The moments of stillness she carves out for herself are not wasted, they are the moments in which she regains control over her own thoughts, in which she refuses to be merely reactive and chooses instead to be intentional. These moments do not require isolation, they can be found in the midst of life itself, in the early minutes of the morning before the day begins, in the pauses between conversations, in the short walk from one task to another. The world will not grant her these moments freely, she must claim them. To embrace silence is not to reject the world but to engage with it more meaningfully. In the quiet, she will find not emptiness but depth, not loneliness but self-possession. It is here, in the midst of stillness, that she will discover what the world cannot give her, peace that is not dependent on circumstances, clarity that is not shaped by external voices, and a strength that does not waver with the changing tides of life. It is a common refrain among those burdened by the demands of life, I do not have time. The words slip easily from the tongue, carrying with them a sense of resignation, a belief that the hours of the day are already spoken for, that there is no room left for anything beyond what is urgent. Yet, if one were to examine this claim more closely, to scrutinize the ways in which time is spent, the truth would begin to reveal itself. The problem is not the lack of time, but rather the manner in which it is used. Time is not an enemy, nor is it an unfeeling master that rules over life with an iron grip. It is, instead, a resource, one that is granted in equal measure to all, yet wielded with varying degrees of wisdom. The modern world, with its endless distractions and ceaseless demands, has fostered the illusion that time is something that constantly slips away, that it is always running just beyond one's grasp. But time does not vanish, it is given, moment by moment, to be shaped by choice. It is not that there is no time for meditation, reflection, or stillness, it is that time has already been surrendered to things of lesser value. There is an irony in the way time is often spent. A woman may feel she has no time to pause, yet she may unknowingly give away hours to pursuits that do not nourish the soul or sharpen the mind. Minutes dissolve into endless scrolling through news and social media, into conversations that carry no depth, into anxieties about the future that produce no resolution. Time is not lost in great, dramatic events, it is frittered away in small, unnoticed moments. And yet, when the idea of setting aside even a fraction of this time for meditation is presented, the immediate response is, I cannot afford to. The notion that time must be earned before it can be spent on what truly matters is a deception. One does not need to complete every possible task, fulfill every obligation, or achieve a particular level of success before carving out moments for contemplation. To think this way is to accept the false belief that stillness is a luxury rather than a necessity. In reality, it is not the busiest who accomplish the most, but those who have mastered the art of directing their energy with intention. The mind that is constantly occupied yet never clear is like a room filled with scattered objects, full, but disordered. Only through deliberate moments of stillness can this disorder be set right. It is also a mistake to believe that time given to meditation is time taken away from productivity. In truth, the opposite is often the case. A mind that has learned to be still is sharper in thought, more decisive in action, and less susceptible to the weariness that comes from mental clutter. The woman who takes even a few minutes to gather her thoughts, to focus her mind, to breathe deeply and reflect, will find that she approaches her responsibilities with greater clarity and purpose. Time spent in meditation is not stolen from the demands of life, it is invested into making those demands more manageable. For many, the fear remains, what if, in pausing, something urgent is left undone? What if the brief moment taken for reflection results in an opportunity missed, a duty neglected? This fear is rooted in the misconception that busyness is synonymous with effectiveness. But a life filled with ceaseless action, devoid of reflection, is not truly productive, it is merely frantic. The most profound insights, the most important decisions, and the deepest wisdom do not arise in the midst of hurried activity, but in moments of quiet consideration. The greatest minds of history were not those who merely worked the hardest, but those who understood the necessity of stepping back, of seeing the larger picture, of giving time to thought before rushing into action. There is a discipline required in reclaiming time for what is truly valuable. It requires resisting the impulse to fill every moment with motion, to say yes to every demand, to measure worth by how much has been accomplished in a day. It requires an understanding that time is not something that must be fought against, but something that can be shaped with wisdom. To say, I have no time for meditation, is to say, I have chosen to give my time to other things. The question, then, is not whether time exists, but whether it is being spent in ways that lead to greater peace, clarity, and purpose. The modern woman, faced with the pressures of daily life, may feel that she is constantly chasing time, that it is always slipping through her fingers. But the reality is that time is not running away, it is waiting to be claimed. It is not an unchangeable force that dictates the terms of life, but a gift that must be used with intention. The minutes given to reflection, to meditation, to stillness, are not wasted, they are the minutes in which the soul regains its strength, the mind gathers its clarity, and life, rather than being something to be endured, becomes something to be lived with wisdom and purpose. There is a mistaken notion that meditation belongs to those who seek to withdraw from the world, as if it were an escape reserved for those who wish to detach themselves from responsibility. Many envision it as something passive, an act of stillness that serves no purpose beyond relaxation. But true meditation is not a retreat from duty, it is a preparation for it. It is not an abandonment of the world, but a way to engage with it more fully. Far from making a person weaker, it fortifies the mind, strengthens the will, and sharpens the clarity with which one approaches life's demands. The woman who meditates does not do so because she seeks to avoid her responsibilities, but because she understands that to carry them well, she must govern her own mind. A cluttered mind, left unchecked, is like an untamed horse, prone to running in every direction, difficult to control, and exhausting to manage. It leaps from thought to thought, pulled by worries, distractions, and impulses, leaving its owner weary before the day has even begun. But a mind that has been trained through meditation is steady, focused, and capable of withstanding the pressures of life without being overwhelmed by them. With all its duties and expectations, does not pause to allow for clarity. There is always something that demands attention, always another task waiting to be completed. If one waits for the perfect moment to reflect, that moment will never come. Meditation, therefore, is not something to be pursued when life becomes easy, it is a discipline to be cultivated precisely because life is difficult. It is a practice that enables a woman to meet her responsibilities not with exhaustion, but with wisdom. Many approach their daily tasks as if they were engaged in an endless battle, charging forward with no time to pause, no time to think, no time to gather their strength. They believe that if they simply push harder, they will eventually gain control over their lives. But in truth, Control is not gained through sheer force of effort. It is gained through understanding, through the ability to see clearly, to respond rather than react, to choose rather than be driven by impulse. Meditation is not an act of passivity, it is the sharpening of this ability. To meditate is to take ownership of one's own mind. It is the deliberate act of guiding one's thoughts rather than allowing them to run unchecked. It is the discipline of stepping back from the noise of the world and observing with clarity rather than being swept away by every passing emotion or distraction. Just as a musician must tune her instrument before playing, so too must the mind be tuned before it can perform at its best. A woman who has taken the time to meditate enters her day with greater composure, greater resilience, and a greater capacity to make decisions that align with wisdom rather than mere impulse. The misconception that meditation is a form of detachment stems from the idea that the mind and the body exist separately, that to cultivate stillness is to neglect action. But the truth is quite the opposite. A mind that is disciplined in thought is far more effective in action. A woman who meditates is not one who shirks her responsibilities, but one who meets them with a steadiness that others lack. She does not rush blindly from one task to another, but moves with purpose. She does not allow stress to dictate her reactions, but chooses her responses with care. She does not crumble under pressure, for she has learned to anchor herself in something deeper than the fleeting emotions of the moment. Some fear that to meditate is to waste time, that it is an indulgence reserved for those who can afford to step away from the pressing demands of life. But nothing could be further from the truth. If one has time to worry, one has time to meditate. If one has time to be distracted, one has time to focus. Meditation does not require great lengths of time, it requires only the willingness to prioritize clarity over chaos, depth over distraction, wisdom over thoughtlessness. A single moment of true reflection can do more to strengthen the mind than hours of mindless busyness. The woman who embraces meditation does not do so because she wishes to escape the world, but because she wishes to navigate it with wisdom. She does not seek to avoid difficulty, but to meet it with a mind that is steady and clear. She does not meditate as an act of weakness, but as an act of preparation. And when she steps back into the world, she does so not as one who is burdened by its demands, but as one who is ready to face them with purpose, clarity, and strength. There is a common belief that strength is always loud, always visible, always expressed in action. The world praises those who move quickly, who speak often, who seem always to be in motion. True strength is not always found in movement, it is often hidden in stillness. It is not the frantic energy of one who rushes from task to task that demonstrates mastery over life, but the quiet composure of one who governs herself with wisdom. A woman who has learned the power of stillness possesses a strength that cannot be shaken by mere circumstances. The ability to be still is not a sign of passivity, it is a sign of control. Many people fill every moment with noise and activity not because they are strong, but because they fear what will arise in the silence. They avoid quiet because it forces them to confront their thoughts, their fears, and the deeper questions of life. Yet, the woman who can sit in stillness without restlessness has already won a battle that many have never dared to fight. She has learned to be at peace within herself, and that peace becomes a foundation upon which true strength is built. There is a discipline in stillness that few recognize. To be still does not mean to do nothing. It means to be fully present, fully aware, fully in command of one's own mind. It is easy to be carried away by emotions, to react impulsively, to be ruled by whatever thought or feeling arises in the moment. But to be still is to refuse to be ruled by impulse. It is to step back, to observe, to respond with wisdom rather than mere instinct. This is not weakness, it is one of the greatest forms of strength. The strongest people are not those who shout the loudest or move the fastest, but those who have learned to govern themselves. A woman who has cultivated stillness can face difficulties with a steady mind. She does not allow external chaos to dictate her internal state. She does not crumble under pressure, because she has trained herself to remain calm even when the world around her is in turmoil. This is not because she ignores problems, but because she understands that a clear mind is far more powerful than a frantic one. Stillness is not stagnation. It is not idleness. It is the space in which clarity is found, where thoughts are refined, where wisdom takes root. Just as a tree must have deep roots to withstand the storm, so too must a woman have a deep inner stillness to withstand the trials of life. A mind that is constantly in motion, constantly agitated, is like a tree with shallow roots, easily shaken, easily broken. But a mind that has learned stillness is unshaken, no matter how strong the winds may blow. Some may believe that stillness is a luxury, something that can only be afforded when all tasks are completed, all responsibilities fulfilled. But this is a misunderstanding. The woman who waits until everything is perfect before embracing stillness will never find it, for there will always be something demanding her attention. Stillness is not something to be waited for, it is something to be claimed. It must be woven into daily life, not as an afterthought, but as a necessity. A few moments of deliberate stillness can change the course of an entire day, not by altering external circumstances, but by altering the way one meets them. There is a quiet strength in a woman who does not rush, who does not allow herself to be carried away by every passing urgency. She is not indifferent to the world, but she is not controlled by it. She listens before she speaks, thinks before she acts, and moves with a purpose that is not dictated by the frantic pace of those around her. She is not easily provoked, not easily thrown into confusion, because she has built within herself a stillness that nothing external can disturb. In a world that values noise, the ability to be still is a rare and powerful strength. Many seek confidence in outward displays of power, in loud voices and bold actions. But the deepest confidence comes from a place of inner stability, from the knowledge that one is not at the mercy of circumstances, emotions, or the expectations of others. True strength is found in the one who can remain calm in the face of difficulty, who does not need to prove her power to others, because she already knows it within herself. Stillness is not weakness. It is the quiet force that allows a woman to navigate life with wisdom and resilience. It is the space in which she gathers her strength, in which she trains her mind to focus, in which she prepares to meet the world with clarity and purpose. Those who overlook the power of stillness mistake noise for progress, motion for effectiveness, and busyness for success. But the woman who has learned the strength of stillness knows otherwise. She does not need to prove her strength through endless activity, for her strength is already present in the way she carries herself, the way she speaks, the way she thinks, and the way she moves through life with steady, unshaken confidence.